Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Krzysztof Sokolowski, and I'd like to welcome you to the second session, or the second volume licensing brief session, where today we're going to be talking about the Charity Open License Program. So for those that aren't familiar with the Charity Open License Program, it's actually very simple and straightforward. Essentially, of course, it is a very compelling price discount to eligible charity customers, but from a program structure standpoint, essentially it works the same way as the Open Business Program. This means that customers need to buy at least 5 licenses to qualify for open charity pricing. It is a 2-year agreement, and over the course of the 2 years, customers can reorder with as little as 1 license. Now, as with Open Business, Open Charity allows customers to either buy a license with software assurance. They could also buy a license on its own, and of course, after the 2-year term, if they buy software assurance to begin with, they have the option to renew their software assurance. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, the Open Charity Program allows customers to buy Microsoft software at a very compelling price point. Now, the pricing is very attractive, but customers have to realize that aside from meeting the program minimum requirements, that's the 5 licenses to buy in, there's also the eligibility requirement. That's right, every customer that wants to buy through the Open Charity Program has to be validated and adjudicated to ensure they are eligible for the charity pricing. So before I get into more information or more details on eligibility and adjudication, I want to point out a couple things. One is that prior to February of 2010, we finished a fairly extensive review of the Open Charity Program in Canada and recognized a couple things. With the 2008 definition, we found that many customers, charity customers, were excluded from the program because they had more than 1/3 funding coming from a single entity. In Canada, we found that many charities are funded by the government, as an example, and more than 1/3 funding does come from that one single entity, in this case being the government. So in the 2010 definition, again this is as of February 2010 of this year, we changed the definition to include and incorporate organizations that are funded more than 1/3 from one single entity. So aside from the funding clause, we also wanted to make sure that we added clarity to the definition as a part of this review. So what we did is we made sure that whether it's disaster relief or humanitarian organizations qualify now, and we spelled that out in the definition. We also made sure to add hospices and hospital foundations. Again, there was a bit of ambiguity in the 2008 definition about who qualifies, who doesn't, but with this new 2010 definition that was revamped and released in February of this year, we made sure again to add disaster relief or humanitarian assistance, in other words hospices and hospital foundations. Now of course the definitions, or at least the points I just went over, would lead everyone to think that the definition is more inclusive, and really that was the point of this whole exercise in the reviews, to make sure we understood what's going on in Canada, make the program more inclusive. But again, further along the lines of clarity, we also outlined who is not eligible for the program. Now, if you recall, I mentioned at the very beginning that customers have to be adjudicated or validated. Now, this is definitely a transparent process to you, but be sure that you work with your authorized charity reseller to ensure that they have complete and full information on your charitable status. They in turn will work with the third party called Arvado to ensure that you're adjudicated properly, and that for the next little while, for this about 12 months, you'll be able to buy software under the Open Charity Program. So before I wrap up today's exciting licensing brief session on charity, I want to go over a couple resources and a couple websites that you can leverage to ensure that you're getting the correct information. The first one, the Canada, I hope this is here, the Canada Revenue Agency website will allow you to find information on yourself as a charity using your charitable number, or you can do a search to find your charitable number if you're not sure what it is. The second website, again, somewhere here, let's say here, the second website is our charity landing page. So whether it's information on who we have in Canada as an authorized charity reseller, in other words, who you can buy software through, or you want to find the definition that we talked about a little bit earlier today, again, it's a great landing page, great resource for you as a charitable customer.
So Krzysztof, what's one thing people should keep in mind about licensing?
Oh, right. It's flexible.